Ramalinga Adigal, popularly known as Vallalar, is one of the notable Tamil saints and poets of the 19th century who belongs to the lineage of Siddha Purushas that followed the path of Gnana or spiritual wisdom. Ramalingam's parents were Ramaya Pillai and Chinnammai. She was Ramaya Pillai's sixth wife, as all his previous wives had died childless for unknown reasons, and that too in quick succession. They lived in Mardur, a village in the South Arcot district near Chidambaram, Tamil Nadu. Ramalingam was their fifth child. He had two elder brothers, Sabapati and Parasuraman, and sisters Sundarammal and Unnamulai. Once Ramaya Pillai and Chinnammai went to the Chidambaram Nataraja temple with the 5-month-old Ramalingam, and the infant was joyous while the priest was offering Deeparadhana, a ceremonial offering of burning lights to the presiding deity before closing the temple doors. Ramalingam witnessed this ceremony as an infant and had a profound spiritual experience that he later spoke of. No sooner was the light perceived did happiness prevail on me, and I tasted the sweet nectar as soon as the Arperum Jodi, the supreme grace of light, became visible to me. In 1826, after the demise of his father, Ramalingam and his mother relocated to live with his eldest brother Sabapati and his wife Papapati near the Kandaswamy temple in Chennai city. Once Ramalingam was 5 years old, his brother Sabapati initiated him into his formal education, but the lad was not interested in studies and instead he preferred visits to the nearby Kandaswamy temple. Sabapati decided to punish his kid brother and sternly told his wife not to provide Ramalingam with his daily meal. However, out of motherly love towards Ramalingam, the kind-hearted sister-in-law Papati secretly fed him food and persuaded him to study seriously at home. Touched by her kindness and concern for his welfare, Ramalingam agreed to study but requested his room, a lighted lamp, and a mirror. He placed the light in front of the mirror and started meditating by concentrating on the light. Ramalingam saw a vision of Lord Muruga in his meditation, which he later described as the divine and illustrious beauty endowed with 6 faces and 12 shoulders. This vision referred to Lord Shanmuka, who possesses 6 faces and 12 hands. Thus began the young Ramalingam's spiritual journey. Eventually, realizing the young lad's divinity, the devotees of Lord Shiva made Ramalingam an upasakar who gave upanyasam or narrating religious stories. He also gave discourses on Periya Puranam, an epic poem by Sekidar that described the lives of 63 Nayanars or devotees of Lord Shiva. Thus, the divine lad had attained unparalleled mental and spiritual growth, which he attributes to the effulgent flame of grace that lit in me intelligence to know untaught. Eventually, from being a devotee of Lord Shiva, Ramalingam spiritually progressed to worshipping the formless aspect of God at a very young age. At the age of 13, Ramalingam decided to renounce the world, but his brother forced him to marry their niece. Tales mention that the newlyweds never consummated their marriage. Instead, during their first night, Ramalingam and his wife were reading devotional works on Lord Shiva. He was also not interested in money and in his later life reduced eating and sleeping but seemed physically fit due to the spiritual heights he had attained at such a young age. In 1858, he finally left home and went to Chidambaram. He participated in many religious debates and won accolades, but he did not care for these laurels or honors. The evils of the caste system deeply touched him. The sufferings of the oppressed impressed him to make strides to eradicate these harsh societal norms at that time. The Tirukkural composed by Tamil saint Thiruvalluvar influenced Ramalingam. It tells how an individual should lead a morally upright, ethical, and spiritual life. He conducted classes for the poor on the teachings of the Tirukkural. He vowed to follow its morals of compassion and non-violence. On the ideal of Jivakarunyam, which is compassion towards living beings, he said, "When I see men feeding on the coarse and vicious food of meat, it is an ever recurring grief to me." In 1867, Ramalingam established the Satya Dharma Salai in Vadalur, a facility that serves free food for the poor until today. Kind and generous people donated to this facility. The registration documents are available for viewing by the visitors. On the inaugural day, Ramalingam lit the fire of the stone stove with the declaration, "The fire be continuously burning and the needy always fed." The facility is run daily by volunteers who continue serving free food to all without any caste distinction. Vallalar taught the masses that compassion and service to living beings is the path to one's liberation or moksha. He declared that death is not natural and that our priority in life should be to overcome death. He stated religion was itself darkness and that God is Arutperum Jodi, the supreme grace of light, a personification of grace or mercy and knowledge. In 1872, Ramalingam Madigal, popularly known as Vallalar, established the Satyagnana Sabhai, the Hall of True Wisdom, a secular forum. This place is not a temple to offer fruits and flowers, and no blessings are bestowed here. It was open to people of all caste except those who ate meat, who were only allowed to worship from the outside. He detailed the pujas performed in the Gnana Sabai, the Hall of True Wisdom. Those below 12 or above 72 years were to enter the Gnana Sabai and do pujas. The oil lamp lit by him is perpetually burning. He said the 7 veils of Maya or illusion blinded the souls and steeped one into ignorance. Of Maya, he said that the intelligence one possesses is not the ultimate and the path of salvation is only through Jivakarunyam, based on the ideals of compassion and mercy for all living entities. He advocated for a casteless society and was opposed to superstitions and rituals. He forbade killing animals for the sake of food. He advocated feeding the poor as the highest form of worship. He condemned inequality based on birth. He founded the Samarasa Suddha Sanmarga Satya Sangam, the Society for Pure Truth in Universal Selfhood. He composed 5,818 poems that taught universal love and peace. This work is available today as a book called Thiruvaruppa, or the Holy Book of Grace. On 30th January 1874, Vallalar, who had attained spiritual heights, entered the room, locked himself inside, and told his followers not to open it. After their opening, he said that he would not be found there and would be united with the divine light. His seclusion spurred many rumors, and the government finally forced the doors open in May 1874. The room was empty with no clues. In 1906, records of his disappearance were published in the Madras District Gazetteers. Arutperum Jodi, Arutperum Jodi, Tanipperum Karunai, Arutperum Jodi. O divine light, merciful divine light.